Editor-in-Chief of The Look Online, and I'd like to welcome you to the New York Fashion Industry Report. Well, among the most annoying questions that anybody can ask of me at the end of Fashion Week is, so what's the length this year? Or what are the in colors? Or what are the in proportions? Or what are the trends? Because it's so not about trends. But having said that, there are a few interesting trends that have materialized these last couple of weeks, but they're not the fashion or accessory sort of trends. Number one growing trend here in New York is that it seems as if the more important shows and sort of the key fashion moments, if you will, are taking place increasingly far away from Bryant Park, the tents, unfortunately. And it seems as though it's the more commercial lines that are making use of the centralized and convenient 7th on 6th venues. Now, I'm not saying that's good or bad, but it just definitely seems as though that is the way things shaped up during New York Fashion Week. Secondly, it seems as if making pretty, understandable, flattering, and commercial clothes is not enough anymore for a growing number of world-class, highly influential designers, amongst them Miuccia Prada and our very own Marc Jacobs. They seem to want to push the envelope and explore alternative ways to define glamour, beauty, and sexy through their controversial love it or hate it designs. It's about being provocative and subversive, subverting fashion, flouting convention, and redefining style in a more abstract, artistic, creative, and democratic way. Well, Miuccia Prada is undeniably the queen bee when it comes to shaking things up and throwing the fashion flock off from one season to the next. And she has always gone on record with her desire to inject intelligence, modernity, and relevance into her clothes. And she has also long been a proponent of a sort of ugly-pretty dichotomy. Is it ugly, is it pretty, or is it pretty ugly? Well, that's for you to decide. In fact, among her signatures are mousy, murky colors, which are not often the most flattering, somewhat strange footwear, to say the least, stranger proportions, and, you know, she never really kind of looks like anybody else. Though she herself could hardly be considered a conventional beauty, she always manages to stand out in a crowd owing to her highly individual look. Unsurprisingly, there is always more than just a touch of Miuccia herself in her clothes. And she designs, her latest collection, for example, was described by Kathy Horan as being beguiling. Well, quote unquote, she beguiles and confuses is how she put it. And then Kathy admitted that, quote, some will probably declare it not their Prada cup of tea. Well, as for Marc, regardless of how you felt about his collection and the rude and antagonizingly long wait, it was really like nothing else shown during New York Fashion Week, and at least it had people talking, debating, writing, and thinking about its record late start, its flawlessly executed stage set, its strange yet beautiful clothes, its weird layering and proportions, its use of odd yet creative accessories, and its backwards order. It was as though Marc's main motivation was not to sell new clothes, yeah, right, LOL, but to make a statement and bring home the point that beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, as is sexy, glamorous, and fashionable. Who says men don't make passes at women who wear glasses? Certainly not Marc, who wanted to prove that specs can be a turn-on when worn with a chic, Chanel-inspired mint green boucle boxy cardigan layered over a black bra and worn with sheer running pants with the undies exposed for all the world to see. The show was seemingly all about sex. Well, that's all everyone was talking about anyway, so I suppose it worked. From the exposed skin, the exposed underwear, and the hiked-up skirts to the decidedly teased-out, messed-up, disheveled bedhead. All the models wore wigs that seemed to be what a chic, demure Anna Wintour bob would look like the morning after a night of steamy sex. This was Marc Jacobs sexy, not the obvious, in-your-face, self-conscious sexy that has long defined celluloid Hollywood. And it was very interesting, timely rather, that Victoria Beckham, who defines that look, was sitting front row center as if to kind of hone the point in of what Marc was saying was not sexy. He took elements of haute couture, inventively layered them, and put them together in a somewhat surprising, disparate fashion, as if an eccentric girl unselfconsciously reached into her enviable closet filled with collectibles inherited from her mom, her grandmother, or simply picked up along the way, culled from a mix of periods, and got dressed hurriedly in the dark. The effect was not sanitized, but more personal, a little bit off, a little bit mad, and a little bit imperfect. Imperfect clothes for an imperfect world. How perfect. And on that note, I'll see you next time.